Yeah, good afternoon, David. It does seem to be one of the big tasks facing modern-day managers, isn't it? How to manage your high-profile Premier League footballers in this social media age. It's always going to be there. It's constantly going to be there, and it's very difficult, isn't it? As you say, Garnacho brought off at half-time. That decision by his manager very quickly criticised on social media, and then Garnacho appearing on social media to like that very quickly it was removed. Was that like? But in many ways that little bit of damage was done to a relationship maybe with his manager. So today, one of the first questions in the news conference, bearing in mind what's happened in the past to people like Jadon Sancho, who we'll talk about in a second, but how first of all has Ten Hag managed that Garnacho situation?
It kind of suggests that the solidarity in the dressing room is not what it could be.
Oh, I won't point to that, but it's so. Alejandro's young player, has to learn a lot, and he apologized for it, and after that we move on.
Apologise and we move on, which wasn't the case, of course, with Jadon Sancho a few months ago. That situation, of course, has been discussed today, bearing in mind what's happened to Sancho and Dortmund this week, reaching the semi-finals of the Champions League, of course. So the obvious question, does Jadon Sancho's ever-improving season, does that change the dynamic between himself and his manager?
Of course, I follow international football, and we always follow the players who are on loan in other clubs. So we was a fantastic game. Dortmund against Atletico Madrid, and great performance from Dortmund. So, and also for Jadon is that good news, right? Because he made his contribution to this result for Dortmund.
But I mean, in terms of him and Manchester United, has anything changed in terms of the way he's played for Dortmund at all?
No, but we know Jadon Sancho is a fantastic football player, and that is not a surprise for us. That is not the issue.
Manchester United very attentive to situation of Stuttgart. Striker Serhou Guirassy. Manchester United are very attentive to the situation of Stuttgart. Striker Serhou Guirassy ahead of the summer transfer window, according to AS. The Red Devils are expected to sign a new centre-forward this summer, with Anthony Martial fancy to leave when his deal expires at the end of June. Guirassy is reportedly one of the names on their radar, and AS today claimed that United are very aware to the current status of the marksman. The Spanish publication add that the 27-year-old has a release clause of €17 million in his contract, far less than his current market value of €40 million. United are one of his admirers, but they are not alone, with Bayern Munich and Milan also keen. Atletico Madrid could join the pursuit too. The Guinea international has been in the form of his life this season. He has already netted 27 goals and was recently named the Bundesliga Player of the Month. Guirassy has played a huge part in transforming Stuttgart from a relegation-based side into a top-4 club, but he is still anticipated to leave during the summer. United are one of the clubs interested, and they could emerge as front-runners. As per Fabrizio Romano, the Red Devils were very close to signing him in January. They had positive talks with the former Rennes man at the start of the year, but a transfer did not materialize in the end due to their financial fair play issues. United are likely to return for him in their quest for a new striker who can deputize and provide quality competition to Rasmus Højlund for the number 9 role. Guirassy would suit United's playing style. He is strong with his hold-up play and has good ball-playing skills. He has scored a goal in every 3 shots this season. Arsenal join race for highly rated Leipzig forward. Kemp have attended games at Old Trafford. Manchester United are expected to enter the transfer market this summer in search of a new striker to provide competition for Rasmus Højlund. One player on the club's radar is also drawing attention from 2 London clubs. According to the Standard, Arsenal are stepping up their plans to sign a forward, with RB Leipzig striker Benjamin Sesko emerging as a target. The Gunners were knocked out of the Champions League at the hands of Bayern Munich on Wednesday night. Mikel Arteta will look to add more firepower to his squad next season in hope of leading Arsenal closer to European glory for the first time in their history. As the report outlines, Arsenal will face competition for Sesko, with Chelsea and Manchester United also tracking him. Sesko's camp have been invited as guests at both Chelsea and United for matches this season. United were linked with a move for Serhou prior to his switch from RB Leipzig's sister club, Red Bull Salzburg. But it sounds like the Bundesliga club is ready to cash in on the 20-year-old, who has a €50 million release clause in his contract that is due to become active in the summer. The Slovenian has scored 13 goals in all competitions so far this season. Fulham consider making €30 million offer for underwhelming Manchester United loanee. Sofyan Amrabat has endured an underwhelming loan spell at Manchester United this season. The Morocco international has not performed at a high enough standard to earn a permanent switch to Old Trafford from Fiorentina. Of course, that is purely my opinion, but I would be shocked if United kept Amrabat for next season. Amrabat joined United on loan from Fiorentina back in September, with the Reds obtaining the option to turn his temporary stay into a permanent one. It hasn't been an easy stint for Amrabat, but he hasn't been able to nail down a place in midfield following a few appearances as a makeshift left-back. According to Italian publication Tutto Mercato Web, Fulham are interested in signing Amrabat ahead of the summer transfer window. The Premier League side is reportedly prepared to spend up to €30 million to bring the Moroccan to Craven Cottage. There is always a possibility of Amrabat returning to Fiorentina at the end of his loan. Jadon Sancho issue not resolved despite starting in Dortmund's journey to Champions League semi-final. Manchester United loanee Jadon Sancho was part of the Borussia Dortmund side that qualified for the Champions League semi-finals on Tuesday night after eliminating Atletico Madrid. That won't be enough to convince Erik Ten Hag that Sancho deserves a chance to have a future at Old Trafford after a public fallout occurred between the pair earlier this season. Sancho's childish behavior is what led to the England international being loaned out to Borussia Dortmund in January. However, after a slow start back at Dortmund, they've now booked their place in the Champions League semi-finals. When asked about Sancho's recent win in a Dortmund side, Ten Hag said he was not surprised. He played a starring role in helping the German side progress in Europe's most prestigious competition. There shouldn't be a way back to United for Sancho regardless of who is manager. If you cast your mind past the childish behavior he showed earlier this season and consider his performance levels for United, it was never anywhere near good enough. Sancho turned out to be a flop signing, but he can never say he wasn't given a fair crack of the whip. Struggling but important United star has numerous suitors lining up for his signature. On a day where Erik Ten Hag has publicly affirmed his faith in Casemiro, reports have suggested that Manchester United are willing to part ways with him this summer. Truthfully, it won't come as a surprise to many fans if the club decide to cut ties after what's been nothing short of a severely underwhelming campaign from the midfielder. Not only has Casemiro become significantly more injury-prone by missing 18 matches in all competitions through fitness complaints, but he's seemingly fallen victim to a classic case of his legs have gone. Almost every time that the 32-year-old has featured this term, it's resulted in supporters claiming that he's past it. He simply cannot match prolific attackers, and pace so frequently results in him lunging into reckless challenges, often earning himself needless bookings.